In the previous days session that was on selection of trainer, the outsourcing of training portfolio. So anybody has got any question, then I can definitely answer. And if there's no question, then I'll go ahead with today's program. So I think there is no question today. So today's topics is the marketing of training, seeking nomination, obtaining cooperation support from user department. Now, important aspect is that whenever you are going to conduct some kind of training, either this can be conducted by the organization itself, and if the organization is conducting a training program, it has to nominate people. Nominate people means it has to make the marketing of the program, in the sense to make people interested in attending the program. Even if there is a procedural thing, but in spite of that, it is necessary that every participant, prospective participant, should know about the program, and they should be mentally prepared to attend the program, so that the effect of the program becomes to get the maximum, right? So that marketing of the training program is important. But see, from the other point of view, if you are a trainer and you want to float your own program, then you need to market your program in the market, that people should come to know about the program, and you should get nomination for that. So uh, any program that you want to conduct, it should be marketed so that people accept it, people comes to know about it, people accept it, and then they join your program. It's a very, very important aspect of conducting any training program, right? So because the success of any training depends upon its participation, right? Uh, that participation is very, very important aspect of any training program. So today's program is based on that. We will see that how to market the training and how to get the nominations from people, what are the important aspects involved in it. So uh, for that, we'll first see that if you want to market something, and you know that marketing is something where we make people understand and know about the product, not only know about the product, we make them understand how and in what way that product is going to affect their life. So similarly, if you want to market any product, it is very important that we should let people know, let the prospective participants know how this training program is going to help them, going to going to add to their life, going to influence their life, and that's very important. So how it affects the training employee. So now let us try to see the PowerPoint presentation on that. Let me see it. Marketing of training, seeking nominations, obtaining cooperation and support from user departments. That is what is the program is all about. So the first thing that you will see that you must know that how training affects employees, and that is the line, that is the concept on which we'll try to make influence the people to join the program. See, when you give training to the people, how the training affects people, if you try to understand that, there are there are 6 ways by which training boosts employees' job performance and productivity. It affects the job performance and the productivity of the employees, but in 6 ways. Number one, it inspires the new employees. The new employees, when you give training to them, they get inspired because they feel that they're important to the organization. And whenever they get the information which is given to them, the new knowledge they get more inspiration, right? Uh, they can understand that in the long run, they are going to become more productive in the organization. They can understand the business and the job expectations, right? That gives them a lot of satisfaction and confidence. Also, create confidence within themselves to do the job, to start with the job, to work in that particular role or portfolio, whatever they have got. So that is inspiration in the new employees. Number two, if there is already the people they have got by getting training, they change their skills skills, the understanding of the skills, reinvigorates their old skills, the already known skills that they have got. Now this gets changed, that gets replaced by new knowledge, and that new knowledge really creates confidence within themselves. That cultivates talent from within the organization. In the sense, the talented people in any organization is useful only when they are given the proper training which is suitable for the organization, so that they can use their talents in the organization. So merely talent is not going to help. when we when we add knowledge, give training to those people who are talented, they are really going to become asset for the organization. So it cultivates training from the organization. People who are already existing in the organization, they get the training, they become more useful to the organization. Retraining employees increases the productivity. Retraining means what? They have come to know about what is latest happening, what is the newest thing that is happening in the particular area or field of work. So, and not only that, that gives them more confidence in whatever they're doing. So retraining helps them in increasing their productivity because they understand the things, what is currently happening, and that is really going to help their productivity. It gives new life into old tasks. The old tasks that they have already doing, by getting new knowledge, it gives them more inspiration to the work. They look at the things differently. Then by knowing new things, they start working in a different way, and that gives inspiration and interest in doing that work. And whenever we are talking about reinvigorating or giving training to the already existing employee, by giving them new knowledge, we make them suitable for the work that they're doing. And at the same time, since we are giving to the already existing people, the cost of hiring also is reduced, because you need not hire people for every new work. Because for the new work, we can give training to the existing people, and that is going to become less expensive. So it reinvigorates the old skills, and people become suitable for the work in the organization. Well, next, it gives employees new skills. Yes, of course, they are already working in the organization, but by giving them new training, they become more skilled, new skills they get. And when you get the new skill, they find a new purpose of doing the same work. And the new skill they get, that gives them confidence and interest in the work. They get a sense of purpose, and also it helps them understanding and realizing that by knowing new skills, getting new knowledge and new skills, they are really developing themselves in their life, and they are advancing in their life for accepting better opportunities. So it offers advancement opportunities to the people who are already existing. Because as you know, that even if somebody is working in the organization, overall, every employee has got their own goal in life. And towards that goal, when they get some new knowledge, they feel that they are being more suitable for the new opportunities which may come across in their life. And that gives them more inspiration to do the work, to know the work, to accept the new knowledge properly. It raises their confidence levels, no doubt about it, that for any new knowledge to anybody, that raises the confidence level in handling the job that somebody is doing. It boosts the employee's confidence. They get greater sense of value and enthusiasm on the job. By knowing things, by getting better skills in doing performing the job, they get better sense of the value. They understand the value their work which they are already doing, and make them more enthusiastic to do the same work. So and that often translates into increased productivity. Yes, of course, when there is a greater sense of value and enthusiasm, people get confidence in their work, that they will do better in their work, and the productivity will also increase in whatever field they are and whatever they're doing. So one very important aspect is that raising the confidence level, because if the training is such a thing which gives people a knowledge and skills and attitude, all the three things boost the confidence of the employees or the people who are attending the training program. And that's a very important aspect of any training program, raising that confidence level. So it's not merely getting the new skills. Apart from getting the new skills, it raises the confidence level. That's very, very important. Now let us see what's next further. It supports a performance-based culture. When you know in any organization, giving training is not merely for the sake of giving training. The purpose of giving any training is to increase the performance of the organization. Why performance? To fill the gap between the expected performance and the actual performance. To fill the gap, the people are given training so that they can increase their capability, and by doing that, they can increase their performance. So it becomes a performance-based culture. The people organization wants to increase the performance of the people through the tool of training, and so it training inspires and motivates employees to give them attainable goals. It inspires people to attain their goal, right? To goal to reach. It is for attainment of any goal, it's important to get that knowledge so that they can work upon that, act upon that in such a way that they can really achieve their goal. But in a clearly defined definition of success, they're able to achieve it in an optimal way. I mean, in the sense that even if there is a clearly defined goal of success or some definition is already given, it's important that the performance is to be done properly. If until and the performance is not done, nobody can really achieve the goal, right? So it helps that increasing the performance of the people. It boosts employees' satisfaction. Satisfaction in the sense, whatever you do in any job, wherever you're working, if you know better, if you increase your skill, if you increase your knowledge, that helps us in performing better. And when somebody performs better, it gives him uh, a sense of satisfaction that he has been able to give the best to the organization, right? So when better skill and better knowledge is given, employees can perform better, and that better performance can really give employees satisfaction. So we've seen that there are 6 ways by which the training really affects it inspires people, it reinvigorates the already existing skill and knowledge. It supports a performance-based culture. It boosts the employee satisfaction in terms of giving better contribution to the organization, doing better performance, and it raises the confidence level of people, and it gives new skills to the employees. Well, so we find that it affects employees, and so when you see that it affects employees, that means what? This is something which is really relevant to market for to the people, right? So whenever we're thinking in terms of giving any training program, we must know that how that training program is really going to affect people. Because when you know how it is going to affect people, we can talk about those things to those prospective people, prospective audience, so that they can become really interested in it. So the next thing will be important for us to identify the audience to whom we are going to sell such kind of products. I mean, who are really going to attend such training programs, so that we can really talk to them, we can market those things. So identifying the audience is an important aspect, because the audience is something which will determine what kind of training, what kind of knowledge is to be given, how the existing training program is going to affect their life, affect their performance, affect their job experience, job. So that is very important. That's why audience is the target group of the audience is the most important thing. So in identifying the audience, what are the things that we that one needs to see, that's important. It may be the audience, may be the executive, the senior most people in the organization, right? Now, when you see that, when you talk about the senior level people, when you talk about the mid level, I mean the top level people, that is the executives, or you talk about the mid level people, or you talk about the junior level people, there are different kinds of programs, and that the the kind of program will be different in all the three different cases. So depending upon the audience, different kinds of level of the people, different kinds of programs will be given, and that's why it's important to understand what is the audience. So the first audience may be the executive, and as you know, that executive, the top level people there, that is also known as the strategic level. And in the strategic level, they are it's more required to give them the training or the knowledge about the learning about the strategic thinking, how to set their goal setting, the leadership skills, managing the change, how to get better business results, those things which are really going to affect the organization directly. Yeah, strategic thinking, because they need to make strategies time and again in the organization to take the organization ahead uh, towards their goal of achievement. The goal setting, that they have to set their goal, how and where they are going to take their organization up, and accordingly they will give their instructions or the directions to the people below. So setting the goal. So the leadership skills, that what skills they really require to take the organization ahead, to make people motivated, to make people in the organization inspired, to really affect the organizational performance and the organizational growth, right? Management of change, that's very important. Depending upon the environment, there is always a need for changing the organization, and that management of change, which is the change which is inevitable in the environment, which is happening very rapidly and dynamically, and they have to deal with those change situation and how to manage those. That's again another kind of information or the knowledge or the skill they require to have. How to drive the business results, how to get better business results, how to increase the profitability, how to develop their performance, how to compete with the competitors. And they're all very important things which they require to know. So all these important things are known, are required for the executives. So executives are something where this kind of knowledge is required. Then second comes the managers and the supervisors. The manager and the supervisor are they are in more or less the middle level management people. They're involved in day-to-day operations, and say they guide the people below for the day-to-day operation. They're responsible for the performance of productivity of today, setting short-term goals of today, ensuring adherence to company policies, people while working in the respective areas, in the respective fields, what kind of, uh, how they should adhere to the policies, what policies are to be implemented, improving their management and the leadership skills. I mean that they will translate that, transform that leadership skill from the higher level to the lower level. Now the people should be should have the leadership qualities even down below. So and then focus on the team building, then how to increase the team building so that the productivity increases, inculcating the ethics in the organization, in working, the coaching and counseling. They need to coach, they need to counsel, they need to guide to the people below. They need to have the management of the time, delegating the power, delegating the authorities and responsibilities to the people. So those all day-to-day operational aspects of any organization is something which is to be, they require training in that area. They require to develop the skills and training in that area. So definitely it is different from the strategic level of the top management. So they require to have training in this area. So our training program will be different for these kinds of people, and that way these people are identified. Well, the next is it may be the human resource department itself. If there is a human resource department people, they need to be given training in little different ways. They need to know about how to hire people, how to recruit people, what are the best practices available in the market for doing such kind of activity, what are the legal matters involved in appointing people and managing people, how to manage the conflicts in the organization, which is inevitable thing which may happen from time to time, how to manage that, how to have that regulatory compliances which is required to be followed, how they should do, how to manage the diversity in the organization in terms of in terms of their roles, in terms of their knowledge, their experience, and so many other things. The employee engagement, how to make people engage in the organization, and not only that, how to make the performance appraisals in the organization. And performance appraisal will let them understand so many other things that are the potential of people in different areas, how and where they should be employed and deployed. So human resource department will have a different kind of requirement, different kind of knowledge and skill they require, and those are to be those kind of training are to be given to these people so that mm, uh, so that they can really become instrumental, they really become asset to the organization in managing the human resource there. Then maybe the IT professionals. When you talk about the IT professional, they have got different training needs. They need to keep up with the technological advances. What's happening in the information technology, new technological advances. Their training is entirely different. They are interested in IT, right? Maybe the topics are cloud computing, IT security, desktop applications, web development, data storage, and all these areas. So it's quite understandable that the training requirement of such kind of people are entirely different from the training requirement of other people. And depending upon the training requirement, the training programs are to be given, and the training programs will be useful to them accordingly. The sales professional, they are interested in learning about the problem solving, the issues, the problem they day to day they encounter while dealing with the customers, how to negotiate with the customer, negotiating skill, how to give better customer service, how to have better professionalism in dealing with the customers, how to have better presentation, the best presentation, presenting their skills, presenting things to the people about the product they're going to sell to them. They need to know about the business ethics. So the sales professional will have a different kind of need of where they need to be trained. So it is understandable why I'm talking about all these things. And when you understand, you know that particular subject, you know how to market it. Because you have to think from the point of view of those people, that how they and what way they require the training, which they will accept and which they will be interested to know about. Marketing is something where you have to make people interested in the product, right? You have to make them feel that this product is of utmost importance to them, which is going to change your life, change their life. And therefore, you will see that needs of different needs of human resources, professionals, IT professionals, or sales professional, and then marketing professional. This is another area, right? So they are more interested to learn about the marketing best practices, that how, what are the best practices available in the market, how to go about that, how to make the pricing strategy in the market vis-a-vis the competition and existing environmental dictates. What are the social media through which they can communicate to the people and make people involved in the process of understanding the product, how to make the branding of the product, how to make an event planning of the event. Here they're going to make certain event, and how to plan for that, how to make people call them there and deliberate the things, talk about the things, right? Make an event planning, advertising. That again is another very important factor. So marketing professional would like to know about all these things, right? That's a different area, or altogether different area where people need to know and learn something. Apart from that, there are some individual contributors interested in different topics depending on the focus area. Right. So we have seen that there are certain areas of training which are connected to the particular department. The sales department, marketing department, or the IT professional, they are different. But there are certain areas of training which are of individualistic nature, which everyone needs to know, such as the training requires, which gives them personal and career development. The personal development is something which required by everyone. It is required by the sales people, it's required by HR people, it's required by marketing people, it's required by IT people, and everywhere. The career development things is required by everyone. So there are certain areas which are of individual nature, which can be given to anybody. The performance excellence, how to excel in that performance in whatever field they are working. Decision making, there is another area which is to be given, and the people at all departments need to give the decisions. So decision making in itself is a particular kind of skill which is required to be developed in all departments and all functions, right? So by this, more audiences can be added based on the organization structure and departmental needs. So depending upon the needs of the organization, there may be various categories of audience depending on the organization structure. So there will be various hierarchy in the organization, and depending upon the hierarchy, there may be various different kinds of audiences, and the justification of the program will be different from all kinds of people. So we should, what I'm stressing upon is that what happens in many of the cases, we fail to justify the training program. We make a training program for the sake of making a training program. But whereas the training program should be evolved out of the necessity or the justification of the particular role or the function somebody is doing, right? So when you understand the target group, when you understand their requirement, you understand the area in which they are really going to be involved with, and what accordingly, what are the areas in which they will find interest, and they'll be interested to know, and when they are interested to know, they can understand better, they can imbibe better, and the change happens better. So it's very important identifying the audience before propagating or before making any marketing of the product. Well, so whatever you have seen so far is that I'll just recap what you have done by now. And I have said you that how training affects employees. That's one thing which you should know. If you know how it affects, we know that where it affects, and how we can really market those things, right? So it inspires new employees, it reinvigorates old skills, it gives employees new skills, it raises the confidence level of people, right? Raises the it supports a performance-based culture, it boosts employee satisfaction, and also it gives employee new skills and raises confidence level. I've already talked about that. So when you give this identifying, then the next important thing which I've talked about is the identifying the audience. There may be various kinds of audience. It may be the executives, it may be the managers and supervisors who are at the mid-level management, the tactical levels which you call about, and then there are human resource level, IT professionals, sales professionals, marketing professionals, individual contributors in the sense the individual development topics areas where every person is required to be developed. So those are to be now that gives us the basis on the basis of which we are going to market our product. If so far, if you have got anything to ask on this, you are most welcome so that I can understand your issues and can go ahead further.
Sir, I have one question.
Please, please.
When any organization they actually asks their employees to go for a training program, there are a lot of inertia also felt from the employees, especially when the employees are quite senior. It becomes very difficult, to get them for the or to convince them for the training. There are a lot of fears also for the training because few employees they might think that I have to learn and I have to do a lot of new things and there will be new challenges. There can be few people who might actually think they may not be performing well and it is one way to get rid of them. uh, I can understand that when the employees are juniors or mid-level managers it is bit easier to manage, but in case of if they are CXOs or if they are the strategic employees, how an organization should strategize or do things so that they can convince them for the training program.
Tell me the last thing what you said. I could not hear. What is the last question?
How the organization can convince especially the people who are in strategic positions or the top positions to go for a training program if they are feared or if they
So
have some sort of scare for
you're
that.
asking me the question is that how the people in the strategic position or the top position, how to convince them to go for training, isn't it so?
Yes, especially if they are not convinced, if they have some sort of inertia
Yes,
or
yes. If they are not convinced, only then the question of convincing comes. If they are already convinced, then there is no issue at all.
correct, sir.
Well, see, what happens is that people are, many cases, people are not aware of the new changes, number one. And also not people are not aware of the training program, how this is really going to affect them. What happens in many cases, the people who are not interested, it is not their fault. Actually, that marketing is not done properly. We could not deliver them. We could not make them understand the importance of the program. One thing is just saying, go for this program. You are selected for this program and you just go for it, right? Now, then the person concerned will weigh it from few different points of view. Number one, he may not be knowing the subject matter, how it is going to affect his life. He also may not be aware of that. But he may think that I will get some break from my day-to-day working, and so it's better I go. But that's a different way of going. But if at all you really want to make people interested in going for a training program, then you should market the training. The market the training means we should elaborately make them understand that how this training program is going to affect their development, affect their performance in whatever they're doing. Are you getting my point? That means what? It generally doesn't happen so. People say that you are nominated for such and such program. The program date is such and such. The program is going somewhere here, and this is your arrangements for going and all that, boarding, lodging, and all that. So you are now selected, and you can go for the training. People, in many cases, these things are not at all marketed. That how this program is going to affect you. So, and if you don't do that, then in many cases, when the people in the responsible position, because they're already involved in something, or they may have some other issue of their own individual issue, they may like to evade the program and they may not be interested. So what is important for us is to market our product in the sense to have an elaborate clarification about the importance of that particular training program related to their job, related to their advancement in career, related to their the development of their capabilities, right? And that is, if that is done, in many cases, in most of the cases, people will become interested to go. Yes, what you think about it? Please come out.
Yeah, sir, I mean, you are right, but there are, I mean, so many factors. Sometimes I believe, knowledge also creates a lot of problem because the senior leaders, they have the knowledge about the organization. They might think, that the training program can be a way to get rid of them. Actually, I mean, I'm actually talking related to one research done by a few organizations, and they said that the one of the fear factor of the top employees when they asked to undergo a training program was, is this a way to get rid of the top positions? So yeah, what you said makes a lot of sense that marketing needs to be done, but somewhere an understanding between the organization and the employees is also very important, I guess.
Understanding between the organization and employees is important. Yes, of course, it is important. So, so next part, I could not understand what is the question here. Understanding is always required. No doubt about it.
No, it was not it's not a question anymore, sir. The question was basically, I failed to understand how top employees are usually, convinced within an organization if they do not want to go for training programs.
The only way out is to really make them understand how this program is going to affect them. And if you can present that properly, if you can make that presentation properly, then that is one way. Of course, apart from where they are being sent, what kind of training institution or that they are going to, that is another personal issue. But otherwise, to making aware of the effect of
मैडम
that is
स्लो
important.
करो स्लो करेक्ट करें
Hello.
Right, sir, right.
Right.
Got it.
Anybody else?
Sir, this is Ritu this side, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, please.
Sir, you touched upon the needs of the management in terms of training, like HR, you touched upon the talent management kind of a thing, and for organization, you touched about the change management kind of a thing. I was just trying to relate my third semester, sir, where probably we will have the choice of OD management and the talent management. So, what do you think in current scenario would be the most required kind of a need of an organization? So which would be more important, talent or the change management? What should be the selection, sir?
You see, it's very difficult to say in the sense they're all dependent upon each other and connected to each other.
Okay.
Right? When you say organizational development, the change management, well, you want to see the change management, who will do the change management? People will do the change management. What kind of people will do the change management? Talented people will make the change management. So everything is connected to each other. So, it's really very difficult to say that what is important. Important, both the things are important. Only thing is one thing you will come to know very elaborately. Other things you have to otherwise know.
Okay.
Other thing also you have to know, but which is otherwise you have to develop yourself to get the knowledge about it.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Yes, please. Anybody else had got any question? No question? Well, if you do not have any question, then probably I have to go further. I have to go ahead. Yeah. So now let me go ahead with and the next thing, that any program, any training program that you are going to make, as a people who are making that training program and organizing that training program, they should have a program goal established in their mind, that what is the goal of this program, what really you're going to achieve out of this program. So establishing the program goals is our next priority, is the next thing that you need to know about. Marketing strategies stem from your program goals. What is the goal of your program? That will determine what kind of marketing strategy you will make. So one need to make sure that the program and the organizational goals are aligned. Mean to say that we cannot make any program which is not aligned to the organization goals, as we have seen in the beginning, that a training portfolio itself is something which is aligned to the organizational goals. If there is an organizational strategy to be achieved, organizational goal is to be achieved, and towards that end, we require to develop our people. It is only for the purpose of achieving the goals of the organization. And if that is the purpose, then how we can really develop people so that they can really achieve that goal. So there is a need for giving training. So whatever program that you are making should ultimately be aligned with the organizational goal, right? That is a must. So what are the strategic and business objectives you want to accomplish, that you must know, because your training program should be connected with the strategic objective as well as the business objective of the organization. That's what you want to achieve. If we don't know about that clearly, we cannot develop a program which is really suitable for that. What success criteria have you set for your program? That is, how do you really, how can you really say that this program is effective? What are the criteria on the basis of which you will say that this is a successful program, right? What you really want to achieve, whether it is in terms of change in the performance of the people, change in the attitude of the people, change in the output from the people. What are the success criteria? So you should have a very clear goal. If you don't have that clear goal, you cannot make the marketing plan, because you will accordingly make the marketing plan and you will make the people understand that how this program should be able to affect them to achieve the objectives. So, in fact, the first step to market a training program should be to set specific training goals, right? For any marketing activity, whenever you are going to sell certain products in the market, you must have your goal, that how much you are going to sell, and so that goal has to be fixed. The goal has to be made first, right? So for any training marketing the training program, that training goal should be specified. What is the goal you want to achieve out of doing those kinds of programs? And that, to do that, towards that end, we need to determine the metrics to measure the success. It's not merely saying that it should be a successful program. Identifying or measuring that success is something which is difficult, right? So how we have to understand how that success will look like, in what terms, in what way we will be able to say that this is a successful program. Now, does it depend upon the development of the performance, development in the better usage of the thing which people have learned? Is it because of the more awareness among the people? What are the criteria on the basis of which you will say that, yes, this training program has become successful? It is also possible that it is measurable in terms of the customer review. So whatever review the customers had earlier, now it's become more positive. The number of the responses are now better, more positive. So that criteria has to be set on the basis of which, whether it is should be reflected out of the performance of the people, whether it should be reflected out of the customers' reviews, whether it is reflected on the satisfaction of the people working on that. Is it in terms of the output achieved in the organization? That measure of success has to be determined. That is to be fixed, but that is again is a very important factor, right? What are the metrics you want to use? Establish them upfront and commit to measuring them. Yeah, whatever is the measurement. I mean, what I mean to say here is training program for the sake of making a training program has got no meaning until unless we really determine and find out and fix that what are the success criteria, that is what we're going to fix, and that will which will ultimately tell us that how in what way we are successful in doing the program. The program has to achieve something tangibly, which can really affect the organizational goals and organizational strategy. If we don't do that, that training program is not sufficient. So therefore, we have to find out and determine some of the metrics. We have to decide some of the metrics which is going to be used by us upfront, right? And we should be committed to using to measure them. You should use them in time and again. We should keep in mind the marketing materials you send out to employees should reflect the goals you need to meet. Try to understand it. We want to achieve the goals in the organization, and that goal should be achieved through the performance of the employees, right? So that means what we have expectations from the performance on the performance of the people. And the people from whom we expect that performance, they must know that this kinds of training program which you're going to market is really going to give them that kind of knowledge and skill and attitude so that they can give that performance. So our marketing material should contain. Here, marketing is for attending the program, accepting the program, right? So that should contain that what kind of influence, what kind of impact the people will get out of the training program that they're going to do. So if you're looking for this positive customer reviews, for example, you want to market training material that focus on improving customer service skills. It may be that our metrics is that we want to see that after conducting the training program, there is a considerable change in the customer reviews. The customers give better positive reviews after after conducting the training program. Means the people become so developed, they give better customer service, they give the performance better, the customers becomes more happier, and they give better customer reviews, right? So we should give that in our training material. We should focus on that. That by giving this training program, how the customer service skills or we can be improved by the people concerned who are getting the training, how they're going to be helped in improving their skill and their knowledge and their competence and their attitude towards giving better customer service, which ultimately is going to give better review by the customer, because that is our metrics. So that means what? Whatever training program we are going to make, it should be based upon the metrics, and our goal should be that there are certain things which you really want to achieve out of this training program, and that must be communicated to the people who are going to attend the training program, that these kinds of training changes are going to happen and is expected out of you after attending this training program. So determining the metrics to measure the success is also an important aspect, is also an important factor to be considered. Now the next point comes that to create a marketing strategy and action plan. Creating a marketing strategy and action plan, creating a marketing strategy that how and what way are going to implement the marketing and what actions that you're going to make towards this thing. So now let us see creating a marketing strategy and action plan. That's very important, right? For doing that, the first thing will be keep the mind in goal. Keep the goal in mind. I mean, what goal you are going to achieve, and that should guide us in designing, planning, and executing our marketing and communication strategy. So the first thing first is that we should have know our goal now. It's very clear that what is your goal that you are going to achieve out of this marketing campaign or this marketing strategy. And towards that, we have to make our design our marketing strategy. We have to plan for it and to execute that, right? Execute that marketing or the communication strategy. You understand communication strategy? Marketing is also a kind of communication to the people, right? Once you've identified the tactics you want to use, you'll need to determine the next things, right? So the first thing is to identify the tactics that you want to use. For implementing that strategy, we need to have certain tactics. So first the strategy, then it becomes tactics, then it becomes implementation. So the tactics that you want to use, that should be identified in doing that marketing strategy, which is stemming out of the goal that you have already decided. So we should have first determine the purpose for which you're doing the marketing. Is your marketing tactics is to inform people, to remind people, to instruct people, to create a buy-in, to increase awareness, or to improve participation? What is the purpose? I mean, the whole marketing aspect will involve certain things that will inform people, that will remind people of the importance of the topics of the subject matter, that will give certain instructions to the people. Buy-in in the sense they should be more interested in the program, they'll be more aware of the program, and that will improve their participation. The purpose has to be clear. The method, what medium will you use to communicate? So this is a part of the marketing strategy. That is how we are going to communicate to the people regarding the regarding the marketing the product. Here the product is improving the participation and communicating to the people. It can be done through the newsletters, it can be through the flyers, it can be done through the posters, it can be done through the web pages, it can be done to the internet uh, internet banners, it may be done through email and presentations. We'll want to vary your method of communication to keep your employees interested. So depending upon the different kinds of people, different kinds of employees, because different kinds of target group may have, for different kinds of target group, there may be various methods which are effective for them, depending upon the time and their opportunity to come in contact with different methods. So what medium will you use to communicate? For some people you may use WhatsApp, even for some people it may use flyers and posters, some places web, or some places may have the emails, right? So it will depend upon the target group that you're talking about. uh, and I mean, in other words, you can very well understand, if you're talking to the communicating or marketing to the executives, the top level people, maybe probably the email will be a better option, because you can give better uh, contents of that, give the detailed content so that they can really understand, they find time to read it, right? So depending upon the people to whom you're talking about, your method should be different. The time frame in the sense how we are going to market this, and what time you have got. Are you going to do it immediately? Are you going to have a monthly program for marketing, or is it they will depend upon the program, what kind of program, and then when you are going to deliver the program. Depending upon that, you may have, sometimes what we make is that we give a monthly statement of the entire program that is going to happen every month. We make people know about the training program that's going to happen, and people may, depending upon their own requirement, they can talk to the concerned HR department that these are the kinds of programs which he or she may like to attend. It may be a quarterly program list that the organization is going to make such and such programs quarterly. So, and it may be also that some program is going to happen. Let's say at the pre-launch stage, they want invitation. They invite people to join that program. Those who are interested, giving certain particulars, and their towards their eligibility and all that. So the time frame should determine then how we are going to market that program. One thing maybe that just before that training program is going to be conducted, we talk to the people, or we talk to them periodically, monthly, quarterly, and well in advance to make them understand, so they can think about it, and they can also make the necessary arrangement for attending the program. Even the department concerned can make the necessary arrangement for relieving people from their particular areas of for the particular areas of training which is relevant to their job profiles, right? So creating a marketing strategy and action plan is something which is important aspect here. Next point I would like to stress upon is sustaining your efforts. Because marketing is something where you need to sustain your efforts, because this does not happen in one day. The marketing plan, it has to be persistently followed up, because if you want to make the people really interested in something, all the products, all the training plans, whatever it has to be a gradual process, and it has to be done continuously. You need to ensure that your strategy is effective and it is continuous, right? And that you are actually increasing the utilization of training, right? Now, uh, why, when we are trying to market certain things, market a program, we are really stressing upon the fact on the people that this program is highly utilizable in their area. That utilization of the training program has to be made clear to the people. If the training program is not of better utilization to the people, they will not be interested to join the program. So the effort should be to show that that utilization of the training program is of very high order, which can really affect them. And towards that, certain questions can be asked. Are your objectives being made? In the sense, if we are making a training, we are making a training strategy or a training, a marketing efforts, we should know that by doing this, we should be able to achieve the objectives of our marketing. Means people are being influenced by these kinds of marketing activity, and people are showing their interest, right? Whether tactics appropriate for your cultures, every organization has got different culture in the organization. There are certain organizational culture, and that organizational culture, our marketing effort should be as per the organizational culture. If the organization is open culture, if your marketing effort should also be open, right? There are certain organizations where people are given training openly, and there is no restriction on their getting training, right? It will depend upon what kind of culture the organization has got, and accordingly our tactics should be uh, developed. Third thing, that have you seen improvement in the skills, in the sense that in such kind of thing in past also, that have we been able to see that such kind of training programs are really going to develop the skills of the people? That has also to be seen, taken into account, and to be communicated to the people, right? Uh, when sustaining the effort, it's a continuous process, no doubt about it. It's a tedious process also, there's no doubt about it. Every HR department has to continuously harp upon that for getting people, because sometimes getting nomination really becomes a very difficult process, and people are not interested, and they may sometimes have very difficult communication with the concerned departments. When training departments find that this such kind of training program is really not going to help their people. So there may be stress at times. There may be a difficult situation at times, but you should not forget to have fun. I mean, keep it fresh and try to have new tactics to meet your employees and training program objectives. You should have always find out new things and new innovations, so that you can really make people understand the importance of this program, purpose of this program, and you have to continuously sustain your efforts. In spite of the fact there will be problems and issues in the path, there will be difficulties and objections in the past, there will be oppositions in the past, people may not like to participate in your process, where what you are trying to do. So you have to just continue with that, sustain your efforts. Yes, promoting a training program is also something which requires innovation, right? It's an innovative thing. Innovation, so one has to think. It's not merely doing something which is a stereotype or a procedural work. It's something which one has to think about. So what are the things that you should need to think about while doing such kind of thing? Let us have a look on it. How would they come if they don't know it exists? You need to create awareness first. That means what? When I am thinking, we are thinking about conducting a training program, and we expect participation from people. The first and the most important thing is to create that awareness among the people that such kind of program exists, And such kind of program is really going to create such and such awareness and knowledge and something within you. So that knowledge, that information has to be communicated to the people. People do not know. We may know about it very well, but people do not know about it, right? So therefore, you, we need to first create that awareness amongst people that such kind of training is existing and how this is really going to affect them. We cannot hope that whatever training program we are doing, the people will immediately join that program, they'll take participate, they'll have a lot of participation. No, it's not possible. We have to make them aware of it. It is a tedious process. It is a continuous process. We may know about something, but they are not knowing about it because people have got other things to do. They have got other areas, other uh, job requirements. I mean, responsibilities they have to carry out. So people are busy, right? So even if they need to learn how to use their software, how to use it better, they have other priorities in life. So pinpointing or highlighting the importance of the particular program that you're going to organize is of utmost importance. Creating that awareness, deriving their attention, attracting their attention towards your program is something which is very important out of that busy schedule, right? Because otherwise they will never think about such program. They will never think about the importance of such program, right? It's a process of discovery for them. When you talk to them about a particular training program which you're going to conduct, and they come to know about the importance of program, they say, oh, okay, this is something very important. We never knew about it. That is what is the awareness. So you have to create that awareness. This will become a process of discovery for them. They will come to know about it and they'll be able to appreciate your training program, right? Second aspect will be, why would they invest the time if they don't understand the value? They not only become aware of the program, they must know the value of the program. Value in terms of maybe anything, value in terms of their own development, value in terms of developing their own performance or their capability in doing that particular job, right? So value in terms of their career advancement or growth in the career, right? So they must know what is that for them in that particular program. They must know about it, right? So we must be able to talk about that. We must be able to talk about those in terms of the requirement of those people who are going to attend the program, that such and such program has got such and such things which they are going to be delivered to them. Tell them what problems your training could solve for them. People do something for their own reasons. People will not do something for my reason. People will do something for their own reason. I mean, if I'm going to really flow a training program, I may think that training program is very good, but that is not of any value. The people for whom we are going to create the training program, they should know that this is of value. They should realize that this is of value, and they will come to know that this is of value when they are convinced that this is going to solve problems for them and how this is going to help them solve the problem. They should know how they are going to do their job more efficiently, how this is going to help them, how this is going to solve their problems. We must know that. We must be able to communicate those things to those people, right? So do this well, and the training just get into the evaluation and consideration stage of the buyer's journey. If you can do that well, if we can create that awareness, we can create that, make them people understand the value. We can make them know that how this is going to solve their problem, how this is going to help them, how this will help them to perform their work more efficiently. It will become evaluated by them, and they will become more interested in, maybe interested in joining the program and accepting the program. So that was the first thing. The next thing is promoting the training. How can I promote the training? How can you promote the training? Is reach out to your most loyal customers, your brand advocate. There are some people who may have, are interested, or some people who understand that particular training program very well, or maybe some people who have already attended the program. They can communicate further to the people, propagate that to the people, to so that people may come to know about that. So that's why sometimes what happens, we do that, that kind of um, examples that we give, uh, what do you call that particular word? I'm forgetting that. We give those testimonials rather, right? Testimonials of the people who have already attended the program from our loyal customers and who are really advocates of our brand. We can take the help of those loyal customers and take the testimonials to make people, other people understand the importance of the program. That can be even a traditional marketing campaign. And the traditional marketing campaign that we should know, um, we should give a value proposition. I mean, a value proposition will tell them that how this program is going to add to their value and why should they do it and what is there in for them. So we should be able to write the compelling value propositions, which is of a lot of importance. That compelling value propositions are to be given so that people, by reading that, but by knowing that, they become immediately interested in attending that program. We should plan a promotional campaign around your training program. A promotional campaign is to be made through the emails, through the webinars. Today, the webinar has become a very, very important tool by which you can really communicate to the people about the importance of something, which and is very easy to be done. To the blog post, it can be done. To the press release, it can be done. Through social media posts, podcasts, etc. And whatever means you can reach the audience, and different kind of audience can be reached differently. So we will try to reach there. So promoting the training requires this thing. We need to uh, reach people by different modes by which they are available, right? Apart from that, we can have certain unconventional approaches also. Although today the social media is very, very important, and webinars are very important, emails are it's remaining important for quite some time. But today webinars have become a very, very important area, and even so, there is certain unconventional approach which is also can be thought of through the learner community. The people who are already maybe in a learner community, there are people who have already done that kind of training program, or they have attended such kind of training program. Their communication, their views, their understanding about that program can be of give value. There may have training conferences where people may come out and may talk about different topics, areas which is need of the day, which is really going to affect the performance of the people and which is going to affect their career, it's going to affect the skill and development of people. That can be which can be discussed, and that will make people interested to go in for a topic and take training in a particular area. Different kinds of games can be given by which they can really understand it. So there may be various ways by which you can promote our training, and the promoting the training and is something very important through various kinds of marketing campaign that will give us a better results in terms of from the people, that how they're really going to accept the training program and they're going to attend the training program. Well, now let us see the next thing. Don't be afraid to experiment. You cannot learn anything if you do not try anything. Yes, it may be sometimes for an HR department, it may seem to be very difficult because in general, people may start thinking that this again is going to be next another training program where people will not be, nomination will not be there, the departments will not release people from there. So don't be afraid. So you can try for different areas, different methods by which you can really communicate to the people, and you can really make people interested in the subject matter. As a marketeer, I love to challenge to think of different ways to influence the people decision. This is something very highly innovative area. Depending upon the psychology of the people, we can understand the various areas by which we can really influence people in taking a particular decision. Really, in a process of marketing, but influencing the decision making of people. So there may be various innovative ways. So we should challenge this. That how can we find out something new? So it may be experimental sometimes, but don't be. I'm saying that don't be afraid of making experiments. Try to find out new ways and means by which really we can influence people. When it comes to marketing, actually, to be very sincere, there is no perfect formula. It depends upon the people, it depends on the target group, it depends upon the product, it depends upon the environment, it depends upon various things, it depends upon the purpose of the program, because there are many, many variables on the basis of which one can really decide that what is the ways and means by which you should do make the experiment. That may be something new, that may be something different, that may be something experimental. The variables, maybe some of the variables. Did you reach out at the right day and the right time? That's something very important. Proposing the same thing at different times or the different day is really going to affect. Something which you propose to somebody who is already busy in a weekday or somebody who is at leisure and is home on a holiday. That's on Sunday or a holiday is a totally different thing, because on Sunday somebody may have more time to think about something, but other day he may be quite busy. So he may take a decision very quickly without even much going into the real need of the thing, the real importance of the thing. So this is a variable. We are talking to the people at the right day or the right time. Where you are talking about that, that becomes very important. Did your message resonate? I mean, you see what we make sometimes. And marketing proposition is something which where we are interested that people should accept it. And when you create that thinking of that accepting that, it's a process of communication. And when it's a process of communication, then we should need to see very clearly that whether at the point of time of talking or communicating to them, are you creating the enough rapport with the people? That creation of the rapport while communicating with people, the purpose of the training program or any product that we're talking about, the creation of that rapport is very important. And when the rapport is created, the resonance will be created, and the people will resonate to your ideas, and that becomes very important to be seen. So, did you reach out the right day and time? Did your message resonate? Did you use the right communication channel? Yes, that's again very, very important. Depending upon the people to whom you're talking about, you may have to decide your channel. Are you communicating through the WhatsApp? Are you giving a telephone call? Are you sending an email? In what way you are communicating to the people, that will depend upon the what kind of people. Are you talking to a senior person, an executive, or a person at the middle level, or the person at the junior level, right? So it depends upon the target person to whom you're talking about. Your communication channel should be there. Maybe to a person who is of a senior person, you may have to give an email so that he takes his time, finds his time to talk to you, or finds his time to go through the things, right? And if we expect that he'll just go and give a telephone call and talk about him, or give a WhatsApp message, that may not be suitable. It will depend upon the particular channel, the particular target person to whom you're talking about. The communication channel should be decided out of that. Did you put the right offering in front of the right audience? Yes. For right audience, you have to give the right offerings. Now, again, what is that offering? Is the offering may be the same thing, but sometimes that offering has to be quoted in such a way, presented in such a way that it should look different. For to different kind of people, the perception of the program will be different. And so depending upon that perception and their need, we have to put the program in such a way, that offering in such a way that it becomes acceptable to them. We cannot talk of the same thing in the same way to different kinds of people, people at the higher level, people at the middle level, people at the junior level. We may have to talk because their perception of the importance of the program are entirely different, right? Something which may be of a lot of importance to the people at the junior level may not be that important to the top level people. And at the same time, the same program may not be of so much of importance to them. It may be simply informative program, but maybe which may be the equally more skilled program for the people at the junior level. So depending upon what kind of program we are going to conduct, how this is going to relevant to the work area of the people, and accordingly we have to keep their offerings to the right audience. Is this the content format that appeals to the audience? Now again, it comes to the audience particular character, individual characteristics also become something very important, how it is going to appeal to them. The content of the format, again, as we know that learning styles are different of different people. What kind of material that you're using, are you only giving auditory materials or visual materials, or you are going to create some impact of feeling within the people, how, what format you are communicating to the people, so it's creating that kind of appeal to them. I mean, that again is of something of very important. Now, when we say that at the right day at the right time, whether it's resonating with the people, whether we're giving the right using the right communication channel, are we putting the right offerings to the right people and to the audience? But at the end of the day, for doing anything, for sending anything, giving any presentation to any person, what is our goal ultimately is that we expect that people to take some action. They will take some action in terms of accepting the proposal and taking the steps to be connected to it, to join it, or doing something. And that is where your call to action, call about as call to action. Your call to action should be very clear. That people should know that after going through all these things and understanding all these aspects which you have discussed there, what action do you expect them to take so that they can go further in that matter, and that becomes a very important issue. So your call to action has to be very clear. We should have a very clear understanding that what they should do right now after that, whether they should go and communicate, they should send a reply through their email, or they should accept certain thing in somewhere. I mean, what kind of thing they should provide certain information, what is there, and that will depend upon what is the procedure you have adopted for accepting the program, accepting the proposal and all that. So that is to be undone, and that's very important. Now, let us come to that aspect of nomination. Is something very important. Is of utmost importance, but for any program to become successful, nomination is a very important issue. If that nomination is not done properly, then the participation in the program will be very less, and therefore it's of utmost importance in any program. Now, the various areas in which you should think about in nomination. Should it be done in advance? And advance here means, should it be done it well before the program is going to be conducted? I mean, in how much advance you should and make the nomination, so that the one benefit of this is, if it can be done well before the training program is going to be conducted. The benefit of this is that the concerned departments or the concerned people or the participant, they come to know about the training program, and that they can make the necessary arrangement in their, um, if it is a department, they can make arrangement for the people who will be absent in place, who is going to work where. And there is some important issue, or there's some important work already pending with him, which is they require to do or go through. They will conduct that and do that. And so all those things which are required to be done in advance, that can be done well if the nomination is done in advance, right? At the same time, if it is not done in advance, it is done then and there when the program is going to be conducted within a very short notice. It may be difficult for people to relieve those people for the training programs, right? Lack of awareness about the benefits of training. Well, we expect, when we expect the nomination, as you've already talked about earlier, we can expect nomination of people, but for expecting nomination, one very important thing is to communicate create that awareness about the benefits of the training. That should be a minimum necessity for making any nomination. Along with the nomination, we should make people know how this program is going to affect them in terms of their development, in terms of their performance improvement, in terms of their career path, in terms of their contribution to the organization, in terms of their expectation of the organization from them. So that awareness of the benefits of the training is something very important, should be done along with the nomination. Lack of cooperation and communication with the department. This is one very important issue, a real practical issue that happens, that even if you are going to nominate somebody for a training, the particular department concerned may not be interested to relieve him, because maybe he may have some genuine problem, but maybe they're not interested to relieve him because they are more interested in their training program. They are not in their job, in the performance in the organization. They are not interested in the growth of the person. So a training program, a training process is something where there should have enough cooperation between the human resource department and the various departments concerned. The departments concerned must understand that how this is going to really help them by getting developed people, the trained people. So if that is done with their cooperation, with their assistance and cooperation and coordination, that it becomes much better, because now whenever you are going to make some nomination, they are going to accept it, and they're going to really give that help towards relieving people for the required training program. So there is a requirement of cooperation and commitment with the departments to make your program effective, make your program successful. Lack of seriousness. Even if you make a training for nomination, the people do not, sometimes the department, they do not take it seriously. Even the person concerned whom you are nominating for the training, you may at times not take it seriously. They think it's just a very ritual that's going to happen, since you need to send somebody for a training and you're sending it. He may not understand the importance of it. He doesn't take it seriously. That, and for that, we require to communicate properly to the department concerned, to the person concerned, and should send such people who are really in need of it, who are really going to need to develop their performance in the training program, so that in their performance, so that they become really interested in doing that. That lack of seriousness is, send somebody in a training program who is not serious, is not going to evoke any result. It's ultimately, it will be merely an expenditure which is not going to contribute something to the through the training program. And the training program is not aligned with the organization goals. It has got no meaning. I mean, at times, even if you do not look at the organization goals, may at times that happens, that person concerned is working in a particular different job, different portfolio, and is being sent for entirely different kind of training program, where which is not going to be used in his day-to-day operations, and that is not aligned with his work, and as well as not going to contribute to the organization goals, because he is not going to perform in that particular area. So if it is not that, then it's really not going to affect the it is not really going to affect the training program. It's not going to affect the nomination of the people, right? So the people may not be interested in nominating people in that particular area. Training is not aligned with departmental need. And a department to whom we have sent a training nomination for a person who is working in that particular department, why should we be interested for sending him in the training? Because that training is not required in his department at all. So not aligned with the departmental need. So we should have enough precautions enough care to see that when you're nominating people, the people are being trained in the areas which is really relevant to the particular department, which is really relevant to the organization in which they're working. That relevance to the organization is important. At the same time, relevance to the department is important. Relevant to the career growth and development of the people is also important, because if all these three things comes together, then people will become more interested, and that's really going to contribute something better. Uninterested participants. When you are sending for nomination and you know in well that these people are not interested, then there's no sense of sending those people for training. But then at the same time, you should also think that why these people are not interested. If these people are not interested, there is sufficient reason to make them understand. We have to make them understand the importance of the training. But otherwise, without making them interested in the particular topics or the training program, sending them just for the sake of sending in a training program, it is not really going to contribute something to the organization. It is going to be merely an expenditure and nothing else, right? That has to be taken into consideration. Training dates not aligned with departmental priorities. Well, if you are sending number of people from a particular department, then probably this also becomes an issue, that they are conducting a training program which is more or less related to a particular department. Then you should see that in the priorities of the department, the date should be finalized after consulting with the departmental head, and seeing their priorities, the importance of a particular dates in question, so that if the number of people are working being nominated from the department, it may not hamper their work, and so they really become interested in sending people, and they ultimately relieve people for the particular training program. We should also look into account while nominating people whether there is any shortage of staff in a particular department. And the department is already experiencing shortage of staff vis-a-vis the work pressure they have already got, they may not be interested in sending people for the training programs. If we just look into it before nominating somebody, and then accordingly nominate, then ultimately at the end of the day, the nomination will come and the people will be relieved for the training program, which is of utmost important to be seen. There should have coordination with the user department. The department from where the trainings are going to be, the participants are going to come, we should coordinate with them in time, in advance, so that people who are being nominated, they are very easily and happily being relieved by the concerned department, and which is really going to affect them and that increase the performance of the department. So therefore, there are various issues in nominations. Ultimately, as you have seen, that nomination really determines the ultimately is going to give the participation to the training program. If that nomination is not done properly, the participation will become very less. So it should be done in advance. We should have created that awareness about the benefits of training. We should have cooperation, communication with the department. There should have seriousness with the people who are being nominated. It should be aligned with the organizational goals. It should be aligned with departmental goals. We should not send uninterested participants. Our training date should be aligned with the priorities of the department. There should not have any shortage of staff when you're sending person from that particular department. We should coordinate with the department. So we have seen that. There are various issues that we have seen in training program. Let me just have a recapping those what you have already said. We need to establish the program goals. What is the goal of this program? That's very important before marketing the training program. Then you should determine the metrics to measure the success of the particular program. That what are the aspects on which will decide the effectiveness of the training program, right? And then you should make a marketing strategy and its action plan with the purpose, the method, the time frame, and then you need to sustain that effort continuously. You should be innovative in thinking that how should you promote the training. I mean, um, we should make people know about the importance of the program, why the training program exists, how they're going to help them, how this is going to solve their problem, how they're going to help them in doing their job efficiently, right? And for that, we may take the testimonials or the help of the people who have already attended the training program, right? We should take all kinds of marketing campaign, including the unconventional approaches from different sources. I mean, we should be very innovative in it. We should not be afraid of make experiments. We may have to make experiments, find out new ways and things. We should see that we reach out to people at the right time, at the right day. It should resonate. Our message should resonate with people. We should have right communication channel. We should give the proper offerings to the right audience, right? We should have format of the content should be proper. We should have clear call to action, right? And then at the end of the day, there may be various issues in the nomination, which you should think ahead to make the training program effective and to have get proper participation in the program, and ultimately to make the real use of that participation, we should solve these issues in nomination. With that, we come to the end of this particular program, today's session. And if you have got any question, you can really please come out clearly with me.
Sir, I just want to add to the promotion and marketing of the training program that you talked about.
Yes, please do it.
You actually said that, you know, the marketing and the promotion is done through the campaigns, basically either through email, WhatsApp, social media campaigns, LinkedIn campaigns, webinars, and some other methods.
Yeah.
And now the campaigns are more innovative. The only idea of these campaigns is not to, you know, share the information or to make the awareness, but at the same time, it is also to do a behavioral study of the, you know, recipients of the email or WhatsApp or whatever social media campaigns, and try to identify who are the people who are going to buy the training product. One is through increasing the relevance of the information. One, like, let's say if I have to, you know, sell a training program for HRD professionals, I am only going to sell it to those professionals who are from HR department. I'm not going to sell it to the marketing professionals or the IT professionals. first approach. Second approach is how many of them opened the email and they saw. This is also a big study which is being done through these campaigns, because these are the campaigns now which are traceable. They trace upon all the recipients, how many recipients opened the email and they did any studies. They also do some sort of, to increase the accuracy, they provide some sort of link where you can go and get a descriptive learning of the program. Like, in the email will not contain each and everything related to the program, but they will actually provide a link where you can click and know all the details of the program. Any user who clicks the link, it means that his probability to join the program is higher than the others. Because he becomes a more relevant participant. So there are a lot of ways and means and a lot of innovative approaches people are using for marketing the training program nowadays.
Right. You're absolutely right. The new ways are coming, new innovative ways are coming, and you should do that too, because things are changing now. Yes, absolutely, you are right. Thank you very much for adding to these points to me. Yes. Anybody else? Anybody has got any question? Are you tired?
Sir, like today's training is like it's the budgets are shrinking. Still, you think that all these constraints, like 10 constraints we discussed, that non-interested participants.
Sound is now distorted totally, and something has happened. Just see it, check it.
Now it's clear, sir?
Do a little more correction.
Sir, it's clear now?
Yeah, please carry on.
Sir, in today's world, these 10 concepts valid. Like we are sending the participants who are not interested, or these things still valid, sir, because it's totally competitive world, and even the management is not forcing something like this, sir. So these still valid, sir.
I mean, I just could not get a question. Just tell me the question exactly.
I will repeat what Praveen said. Praveen said, asked the question that is it relevant in today's context that people who are not interested for training, they are also nominated?
Yes, the people are not interested in training. This is still relevant, because if people are not interested, whether they express it or not, if they are not interested even within themselves, the training results of the training is not going to become that effective. So there may be two situations. You send somebody by force without even asking them whether you are interested or not. He may not have expressed that, but he is not interested within himself. Then really that is not going to create an effect. So we should always think of that. We should present the facts in such a way that people should become interested in it, even if they don't express it or they express it, right? So that will, as long as the human beings are concerned, these things will remain. This is valid. People are not robots. They will have their own likings and dislikings. So you should also only be able to influence their likings, right? Their ways of thinking. So that is still relevant today. I think it's still relevant today. If you've got anything else to think about, please.
Sir, actually, like marketing budgets are shrinking, the training budgets are shrinking, right, sir? So organizations are only sending those candidates who are pursuing regularly. Like, sir, I want training, I want a training. So in particularly in private organizations, the budgets are shrinking. So I don't think that these parameters are valid for today, sir. This is my perspective.
Good morning, sir. I would like to add something here. Maybe the scenario is very different in the government sector, because in our training institute, we, notify so many trainings, but we are getting very less participants. Yeah. So what sir has covered, maybe he has covered both the sectors. In fact, I was about to ask question.
I understand.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
yes.
was about to ask questions, sir. We are not getting enough nominations because of shortage of staff, because of this corona. I mean, there is only 50% attendance being mandated by the DOPNT. So we are not getting enough nominations. So how to get more nominations? Sometimes we have to cancel our trainings in
No,
our defense headquarters
see,
training institute because not nominations are enough. Recently, uh, we had a training on this computers, Excel, Microsoft Excel. I got only 3 nominations, and even for those 3 people, I had to conduct the training because canceling too much training, I mean, this is not a good thing. And those 3 people had come from different offices. So, thinking that what will they say about the institute if we keep on canceling such trainings? So, yes, sir, that is my point of view.
me, I see, I get your point, but then one has to see that what are the reasons for which people are not coming. The reasons may be many. That there may be shortage of staff. There may be that training program has been decided unilaterally without asking of the concerned departments, right? So one thing is that yes, it happens in many departments. It may happen, and in particular the government departments where the people know that even if they don't attend the program, is nothing is going to happen, right?
Yes,
No
sir.
disciplinary
Yes, sir.
action is going to be conducted against them.
Right.
The people take it very seriously. They do not take it seriously, and even the department heads they do not take it seriously. So it depends upon the culture of the organization in a large way, and there should have enough cooperation between the department. Before conducting a training program, before nominating a person from a particular department, one should have, I mean, discuss with the people, the department concerned. But in spite of that, there will be situations where the people will not come. Those are the realities that we have also faced in our life, that sometimes people do not come, and for obvious reasons. We should try our best to communicate beforehand. We should collaborate with people, make nominations, taking into confidence the departmental heads before nominating the people, making the importance of the training program very clear to the people. That is the way which you can do. But in spite of that, there are certain realities which will happen. There's no other way out. And but then we should look at ourselves. Are we doing the training programs very effectively so that people become interested in doing that? When you say that in our Excel program only 3 people are coming, then the 2 3 things comes in my mind,
Yes,
that
sir.
they do not require that training maybe in the department, because this is such a practical training. People are affected by it. There maybe there is no requirement, or the training program you are conducting is not of that standard that people become interested in it. Something I have to think about, you know. That's what is immediately coming into my mind. Yes, please.
Sir, I beg to differ slightly from what Namita or Praveen said. We have already understood that there are some standard training timings for all the employees in the good companies,
Yeah.
like 80 hours per year, right? So they have to go for the training program, irrespective of whatever they think. So yes, I agree to what you said, that there will be people who are not willing to go for training, but they have to go because they have to follow the rules and regulations. Apart from that, sir, wherever training is concerned, one or two or maybe few organizations, they may not represent the whole industry. So there can be, lack of nominations for a few organizations. But when I see today's world, there has been the social media is flooded with so many training programs from the global universities. Don't only talk about the Indian universities now. So I think during the Corona phase, people have done more training than any other time. And it has been also, there has been a study, because the time available with the people was more during the COVID period. So the number of training sessions and training programs increased
Yeah,
high.
it was increased a lot.
Yeah. And the training companies, they earned much more than what they used to earn earlier. But yes, there has been a decrease in earnings due to one factor, and that is the prices paid for a training program in the physical classes was quite higher than on the virtual
Mm.
platform. So this is definitely one of the worries for all the bigger and good organizations. But wherever nominations and getting the training persons, they are concerned, I think it's the time when people are getting so many nominations that they are not able to cover.
Yeah, that's true. That's true that change has come. But what she was telling is also all right to some extent. It depends upon that organization concerned. What is that policy? How seriously they're taking the training, people attending the training. In certain organization, it is a compulsory thing. You cannot say no to it, and it is going to add to your performance appraisal. In certain organization, they are not taking it so seriously. So it will depend upon the organization also. So it is a private organization or a public organization, what kind of training organization at the organization, there it will depend upon that. So this way it differs from organization to organization, place to place. But yes, today because of the COVID, these online programs have got an increase to a very large extent. I know this has become a new trend now. And how long this is going to remain, nobody knows about it.
Sir, it has been evident like Coursera, Udemy, Swayam. It's a government initiative in India also. They have been getting more than lakhs of nominations per day. So we can go and verify also how many nominations are there for the program. There are lakhs of trainings available on Udemy or Coursera, and they are sold like nothing. Everyone is trying to, because they are actually available at a petty price. Like, you pay just 2,000 rupees and for a program which maybe, worth 50,000 rupees. And even the degrees, university degrees, sir, they are also selling at a very low price nowadays, because the prices that they have to bear, because it is actually shared on the virtual platform, they do not need to, bear the overheads. So if they actually organize one training session, they can sell it to n number of employees. They have come through the self-paced learning approach, like the Swayam, where the professors from IIM, they have come and they have designed the course, or IITs, they have designed the course, and they are selling at free of cost in India. Swayam platform. So education has become more wider. I mean, think it has been more available to the people as it was available earlier, I guess.
Absolutely, that has happened. Right? That's right.
Actually, sir, in current scenario, I would just like to add what you mentioned is what is in for me. That becomes really important, because that charm for training has not been so high. Now the people feel that they desire something and they should get it. So even if the company gives training, it is just not, it might be carrying body, but not the soul inside. So that is what uninterested participant probably you mean to add, sir, probably. That one should be very interested in what he is getting.
Right. In a very short run, there may be many training programs. In the long run, people may not accept it, because the content of the program is going to be will create the interest among the people. So that's an important issue, like that. Yeah. Anything else? Well, your silence shows that things are over for the day, and I think that.
Sir, I have a question. My name is Urvashi. Usually, what happens in organizations is that when you force nominations, that when you ask the HODs to nominate the team, you end up getting the HOD will nominate same few people all the time, right? So that is the challenge, and those people would either be underperformers, or they are the one who generally are on the way out of the organization. So that is the trick that HODs generally use, that they will nominate people who are not working at all. They will never ever spare somebody who is a high performer, or who is of as in, like, if the person is not in the operations, then their operations may get stalled. So they'll always nominate someone who is not of great importance.
Right. This happens. You're true. This happens.
What Urvashi said, this can be only possible in a company or organization where processes are not standardized. In any company where processes are well set up and...
No, Arvind, I'm not saying that it is about the process. I'm saying it's the general way how things are there. It's not only about the process, right? It's also about the mindset. HODs don't want to relieve people who are high performing, or who are of high importance in their particular operations. They will never ever do that, because their operations will get stalled for that particular day. right? So that is what I'm trying to make a point over here. It's not only about the processes, it's also about the mindset.
When I talk about process, what I mean to say is no matter what the mindset of the head of the department is, if the organization says that everyone has to have a mandatory 80 hours training per year, he has to send everyone for 80 hours of it. Is not under his control or her control. He has to, because he, a part of his carry also says that he has to ensure that all his team members has done the 80 hours of training per year, right? So this is the reason why I'm talking about processes. There can be a lot of companies where the processes are not defined, and what you are saying, the biases, they may work. But in the companies where the processes are very well established, these biases won't work, because this is why we set up a process inside any organization.
Shala, that's nice. That's a very good discussion you had. But then, yes, everything has got its own point of view and everything is very important.
Right, right.
Well, with that, we'll finish today's programs. All the best. Thank you very much for giving so much good participation with me. And we'll see you the next time. All the best. God bless you. Take care.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
sir. Thank you, sir.
Just give me order.